Mic check, mic check. 1, 2, 3, 4. Mic check, 5, 6. Are we there?
Don't laugh. Why you are laughing? Shut up. Shut up.
Well, well, well. Good
Well,
afternoon, John.
Hello.
How are you?
All right.
A little bit tired by the looks of it. I see a little bit of tiredness in your eyes there, John.
Yeah, I'm all right.
You're right. Had a long one last night, did you?
No, it wasn't as bad as the night before.
No, we did cut it at midnight, didn't we? Well, around midnight. So
Yeah.
if anybody was interested, we were on the other channel, 100 Acre Swamp. That's number 100 Acre Swamp, playing Fortnite, and might do the same again tonight. Don't know. We'll see how it goes. But you know, we take these days by ear. So how
Play these days by ear.
Yeah, we do play these days by
Don't
ear.
take them by the ear.
No.
Hey,
no.
come here, Day. Come here. I'm just dragging this day off.
So we usually discuss what we're going to talk about in the preamble, right? But
Yeah,
we didn't
but
do
you were
that,
late.
did we?
That's because you were late.
So I've been sitting here for the last 10 minutes, you know, doing stuff, and you couldn't have gone, what are we going to talk about in the preamble?
Oh, I actually meant
Why?
to tell you something in the preamble that I can't tell you now.
Why?
Well, okay, I could. The
Go on.
first 4 slides are what you want to talk about.
Right, okay. The first
Okay,
4
so-
slides are what I want to talk about, so let's
so-
not talk about that in the preamble.
So when you start talking about them, there are 4 slides there that you can basically
Reference.
work your way through.
Okay, so
I should have
basically,
told you that in the pre-preamble.
You should have done.
Now we're in the preamble. What about South Korea?
yeah, what is going on over there?
Yeah, so I got a report this morning that South Korea had scrambled fighter jets because I think it was 2 Russian planes and 6 Chinese planes, warplanes, fighters, were in Korean airspace. But I've heard nothing since. So I'm going to have to do some digging after the show. And
Yeah,
see
but
what's
Russia kind of do this, don't they? I mean, they did it to us. We had some Russian jets in our airspace and had to be scared off by some British fighter jets, but we weren't told about it until like a year later, were we?
Yeah. We do stupid things as well, though. Look, like when we put our boat in the Baltic Sea, right, nearly in a Russian bloody base.
Yeah. No, yeah, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. But also, what the hell is going on with Elon Musk? What's going on over there?
I don't know.
I
What do
can't
you
work
mean?
it out. Is he going? He's going to war with Apple very clearly. But is this his new priority? Because let's talk about Twitter amnesty for a minute. And I'm not talking from a personal point of view.
Okay, so he said, and this is the part I don't get. He said, if they take Twitter off the App Store, I'll sell all my shares to Donald Trump for $1 each.
Oh, really?
He said that. He tweeted that.
Well, that's interesting, isn't it?
But how would that benefit him?
Well, it wouldn't, and that's the point, because if they remove Twitter from the App Store, basically Apple and Google have real censorship power over the internet. And the reason that is because Twitter's got a web browser that anybody could use. Doesn't really matter whether or not it's on the App Store, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But they don't. Everybody is app-focused, app-based. It's an app-based world now. Everybody uses a smartphone rather than the web app. But there are the occasional people that will pop up and say, I use the web app instead. But let's face it, not many do.
I just use it on my PC.
Yeah, but how many people actually own a PC anymore?
I don't know.
So Natasha says, are they sifting through the accounts to see if they were actually suspended for justified means? Well, I don't know, is the answer to that.
Right. No. What he said was, if you haven't broken the law...
or engaged in egregious spam...
Yes, then they would be reinstated. They didn't say anything about them breaking Twitter terms and conditions, which technically everyone that has been suspended should have done.
I didn't.
As interpreted by Twitter. Well, you don't know. You don't know what you were suspended for. That's the thing.
No, that's the thing. You are absolutely right. But I saw a report yesterday saying they had begun reinstating 62,000 accounts with over 10,000 followers. I have 2 of those. I'm not going to lie, I have 2 of those, and I've seen no movement personally. Although I have seen something odd happening on both of those accounts, because you can still log into them, right? And you can look through Twitter, and you can see your old tweets, and you just can't do anything. But they've started receiving notifications again, despite the fact I still can't do anything. And it's been over a year since... notifications. It tells me how many messages are in my inbox now, but doesn't show me the messages. So I can only assume something is happening. I don't know, is the answer.
Anyway, I'd like to welcome one and all to this episode 168 of Chasing Dissent Live with me, John, and Ben. Episode 168.
Hi, John.
Well, you told me to smile.
I did tell you to smile, but you just sat there with like this... I fucking hate my life. Shit-eating grin on your face. Come on, man. Come on.
Oh, do you know what? It's difficult to smile sometimes when you realise that the human race is just on a fucking spiral to the bottom.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It is, and we are unfortunately falling down that spiral ourselves, along with them, and we have no choice. We have no choice. We were dragged down for the last 2.5 years. Now we all have to reap the consequences of the actions of morons. But I think we should start as we mean to go on, and let's begin here.
I think we should live our lives like a dog.
Okay.
Live for the moment.
Live for the...
in the moment.
Live for the moment. Sit around licking your balls if you feel like it.
Can't reach my balls. I'm too old to bend over that.
Too old. Just too old now. And I'd probably break every bone in my back if I tried. But yeah. It's a good analogy.
Other than licking your balls, I think living like a dog is It's probably the best thing that one can hope for at the moment.
I think living like every day is probably your last, because it's looking increasingly likely that one day it will be. I mean, it definitely will be one day, but
What is it?
it's oh, I don't know.
86,700 seconds in a day.
Oh wow.
So you've only got 86,700 seconds before the next day starts. Well, you've got less than that.
Why are you putting it into this kind of perspective, John? It's sad. It's absolutely sad. Come on, man. Come on, man.
I just seem to. I mean, I was in quite a good mood in the morning meeting, was I not?
You were. Well, no, you weren't actually. I called you a grumpy bastard. I even said you didn't have enough coffee yet.
Did you? Was that today?
That was today.
I thought that was the days just run into each other. They're just like the same. The morning meeting's the same. You're a grumpy bastard. Go and have a coffee.
Yeah.
I've had 3 coffees. I don't want any more.
But unfortunately, I will say this: you appear to be embodying the state of the world right now. The state of the world right now is very sad. People are very sad and hypocritical, and I think that's where we should start, right?
Sometimes it gets to you, doesn't it?
Look at the way Majid Nawaz has framed this, and this is how we were framed. So, CNN reports far-right anti-vaxxers and conspiracy theorists protesting in China against COVID health regulations. Oh wait, checks notes. We call them freedom protesters, and they're when they're not in the West protesting against similar policies that our own government implemented. And I have a lot to say, and I don't quite know how to say it. And I've been thinking about this all morning, because Western media outlets have shown their hand, as far as I am concerned. They have shown not just their hand to us, who don't trust them anyway, but they have shown their hand to absolutely everyone who cares to look. Because this is how they framed your fellow countrymen in the UK, in the USA, in Germany, in France. They called you anti-vaxxers. They called you far-right conspiracy theorists. They said you should be in camps. They said you should be taken out of society. They said you were evil. They said you were killers. They said all this.
He did.
And then when someone in China, or a group of people in China, go and do the same thing, what's going on? Is it just hatred for freedom? Is it hatred for Western culture? Because the media knows that these protests in China will be cracked down on, and they will be cracked down on hard. The CCP won't. They will rein this in, and they will rein it in quick.
Of course they will. Of course they will.
And
so, I mean, the next slide, the part that's critical to this one is the New York Times decides lockdowns are actually draconian and economically destructive when China does them.
Oh, what you mean? Like we've been saying since day one, yeah?
Yeah.
You know,
it appears to be only when China does it.
Yeah. I mean, as I said, these people are vile. They're disgusting. They've shown their hand, as far as I'm concerned, and their hand is that you must be punished for anything that you do. It's nothing. It's nothing about freedom. It's nothing about your rights. It's about who you are, what your values are, and how they are wrong. Whoever 11 says the hypocrisy is part of the plan. They have to destroy trust in all institutions and governments in order to socially engineer support for world government saviors.
Well, you see, maybe they do, but from my perspective, all they're doing is showing themselves out to be completely unrequired for normal life.
Yeah.
Because what has government done for you that is any good? And in fact, let's go back to that famous quote. Think not what you can do for your country, but what the fuck has your country ever done for you?
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right.
I wouldn't fight for it.
I don't think I would, especially this iteration of our country. It is destroying civilization. It's destroyed people's entrepreneurial skills, their entrepreneurial will. It has destroyed families, it has destroyed cohesion, it has destroyed trust. And we're supposed to, offer ourselves up to do something for this country. No. The people in control of this country, the system in control of this country has to go. It has to go. Something needs to give. And what we do, or what comes next, or what's a better system, don't ask me, because I don't have the answer, and I'm not saying I have all the answers. What I'm saying is what we currently have is not democracy. It's an illusion of democracy, and it's not going to help you, me, or the little guy anywhere at all.
It's not working.
It's not working. And people need to start realising this. I'm going to move on to the next slide from Malcolm Roberts.
Yeah, well, this is good. This is Sky News Australia, and this is the difference in reporting. For when they're reporting effectively the same thing.
Yeah, there's no effectively about it. It is the same thing. It is the same thing. Remember the demonisation of lockdown protesters in Australia by corporate media who are sponsored by Pfizer. Anyway, we stand in support of all who stand for freedom over tyranny in China, in Australia, and around the world. And I agree with that, right? We were on the side of people, the little guy that just wanted to get on with their lives. He wanted, and they turned out in their droves, in their hundreds of thousands, at one point in their millions in London, to try and make their voices heard. And what were they met with? I was there. They were met with violence. They were met with oppression. They were met with the police getting out their batons and shields and assaulting people who just wanted to have a sing-song in a park. That's what they were met with. That's what. Yeah. And then when, is Trudeau here on the list, or should we just go into him?
Just go into him.
Just go into him. That hypocritical little fucker. He's just. We stand with the people of China. We stand with all of freedom. We stand with people protesting for the rights to their freedom, while he is under investigation for suppressing freedom protests. He is literally under investigation for it right fucking now. He's giving evidence in inquiries. And he's like, we stand with freedom. We stand with protest. Well, you didn't stand when you used the Emergencies Act to seize the bank accounts and the children of people who simply did the same thing. Did you? Did you?
No, he didn't.
They even took their fucking pets. They even took their pets. How is this man's position tenable? How?
Because people are sheep.
I mean, look, we'll go to the last one of these 4 slides. And this is... I was there, John.
Well, yes, I know you were, and that's why I put this slide in, Ben, because I'd like to tell you exactly where the BBC were.
Yeah.
During this protest.
Hidden in their building.
Because I believe, was Mariana Spring not around?
Yes.
And where exactly was she?
Hiding near some scaffolding, covered in a mask, lying about the numbers.
Yeah.
That's where she was.
Not even on the main street, but down an alleyway, I believe.
Yep, hiding at the side of the protest. But I've been to several others. And I will say this. This is insane. It is all insane. The BBC hid in their buildings and got lines of police. They stood up on their roofs with cameras looking down on it, right? They were up on the roof of Broadcasting House. They were looking down. They didn't report on it, even though they had the cameras. They didn't report on it.
Yeah, of course they didn't.
They hid in their building, and if anybody tried to approach it, even to simply make some noise or sing a protest song or something like that, they were assaulted by the fucking police. By the big line of police, the police that are only there to protect corporate interests. They're not there to protect you, the citizen, because if they were, they would have stood with us at those protests. And I say us as if I was a protester. I wasn't, as you know, but they would have. I was in and amongst them. I was on a mobility scooter. I've got an immunocompromised system. I wasn't wearing any coverings. I did this every time I felt well enough to do it, as you know. Right? I did this completely off my own back. I did this completely for free. I didn't get paid by anybody to do this. And did I come away from these protests dying? No. Surely people like me should have been the litmus test. And I wasn't the only disabled person in that crowd. There were people being pushed in wheelchairs. There were people on mobility scooters. There were people in electric wheelchairs. They would come from all over the country. Nay, some people came from other countries to be parts of these protests. And when it happened, the BBC went, look, there's a couple of hundred far-right anti-vaxxers down there, and they don't want you to be free. That's basically what they said. They're not fighting for your freedom. No. They were, by the way. They were. And there might have been some dubious characters within this group. I don't care. That doesn't bother me. People from all political spectrums, from all races, from all religions. Fuck, the Hare Krishnas turned out en masse each time, right? But they turn up. They came together for the same reason. They sung. They danced. It was a good atmosphere, it was a good vibe, and the only people that brought it down, caused violence, were the police. Mm-hmm. It's a fact. And the mainstream media now want to take what they deemed as far-right anti-vaxxers, as far-right anti-vaxxing, terrorists, essentially, that are going to kill your granny. Same deal in China, and they're going, oh, freedom, freedom, Oh, we love them so much, we support them. They've played their hand, John. They have played their hand, and people need to wake the fuck up. These people don't deliver you news. They are propagandists. They deliver you what they want you to see, what they want you to hear, and what they want you to believe. We'll tell you what we believe, but we will also tell you, don't believe what we believe.
Well said, sir.
I know. And I didn't even rehearse that. Just made it up as I went along. Shall we move on?
Yes. Right, so this is from the Denver Airport mural, right?
Yeah.
Which was painted in 1994.
Yeah.
Why would anyone paint that in 1994? Because none of those countries on there really did that routinely.
You know what?
Apart from one or two of the Far Eastern countries.
You know what? I don't know. My very honest answer.
It's a really weird one, though, isn't it? It is a really weird one.
Yeah.
I just thought I'd throw it in there.
No, and, the problem...
That was nearly 30 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, nearly 30 years ago.
The problem is this. The problem is this, that if you even ask these questions, you are chucked into a category, right?
Yeah, I know.
And all we are is inquiring minds, really, and we have opinions, but the honest answer that I will give you to that question, why is that there? I don't know. Shall we move on?
So the New South Wales government will be refunding 33,000 recipients of COVID fines after two Sydney siders won a landmark test case in the Supreme Court. Surprise, fucking surprise.
So take us a little bit deeper.
33,000. Again,
so
you mentioned that number, you get fucking flung in a category as well.
Yeah, but not by the same people. By different people. Yeah. Everyone wants to throw you in a category, John. Everyone.
I know. Yeah. No, I mean, it's quite simple. Basically, they issued fines to people that had allegedly broken the COVID legislation, and the COVID legislation was found not to be
lawful.
Enforceable. Not to be lawful.
It wasn't lawful anywhere. It wasn't lawful here.
It wasn't lawful.
The thing is, I don't understand how any court in this country could decide that what was done to our fellow human beings was lawful. It wasn't. It wasn't lawful what they did to you. And Matt Hancock himself on I'm a Celebrity, rolling it back as much as he can. Oh, it was only guidance. It was guidance. How can they fine you for guidance?
Well,
how?
They can't. So they need to be refunding these fines, and people need to be going to court. They need to be taking these people to court and saying, I want my money back.
I think every single person that received the COVID fine should flood the courts. Flood them with small claims. Absolutely. Yeah. And make it so hard for the courts to operate. And I'm talking tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people who were issued these fines. Go to court. Go to court.
Yeah.
Because what they did to you wasn't legal. It wasn't legal.
It wasn't.
Natasha says, haven't they continued with court cases in the UK? If they have, they need to stop. It needs to stop. Because
everybody needs to contest it, and everybody needs to ask for their money back.
so, speaking of enforceable misinformation,
Oh yeah,
what's gone on over at Twitter, John?
Well, Twitter continues in its mission to make the left completely and utterly melt.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because basically that's all they're doing. They're just dropping their Twitter tags and things, and they're not enforcing the COVID-19 misleading information policy anymore. So I don't know why. Maybe the information isn't misleading, or maybe they just don't feel that they need to enforce it anymore. I don't know.
Well, I don't know why, but I will say this: it could be to protect governments, because let's face it, a lot of what the governments have said, and a lot of what the mainstream news outlets have said regarding information around the coof, around the treats, has been wrong. It's not been right. It's been misinformation, hasn't it, John?
It has been, mate. It has been.
So maybe they've gone, oh, we don't want to get hit by this misinformation policy. We done fucked up.
Speaking of misinformation, this is the kind of thing that we don't want.
Right?
Right? Because if you look at this...
That's not real, is it?
Well, it's real in the respect of the fact that it's a tattoo artist doodling on a Starbucks cup.
Yeah, and that's it.
That's it.
Yeah.
There's nothing about Starbucks in it. You know, it's nothing to do with Starbucks. And it's like you can't present that as real information.
No, I agree, and this is why we find it so damn hard.
I'm quite disappointed by Suzanne, because normally she's not too bad at this kind of thing, but that's a couple of times we've pulled her up now.
I you know what? I completely agree with you. You know, we can't have this sort of thing, and I bet it's spread like wildfire, right?
Oh yeah.
Because the lie travels halfway around the world before the truth can get out of bed in the morning. Mm-hmm. But it's not cool, and it's not wrong. It's not right. If you're gonna put that sort of thing out there, just say, hey, look what this tattoo artist did. He drew in his cup.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
And the way people frame it, and they
yes. But speaking of coffee.
Yep.
It's good for you.
Cheers. Cheers.
So at least 2 to 3 cups a day. Incorporate it into your diet, and your chance of dying from all-cause mortality is reduced. Allegedly,
according to Medscape UK.
Yeah, well, it's a cohort study, which means it's more subjective based.
Mm-hmm.
But it's on 500,000 people, so that's not too bad.
That's not too bad at all, actually. I will drink my coffee, which I'm nearly out of, unfortunately, to that. But that is my 3rd cup today, because I am now on another Coca-Cola sabbatical, John.
Oh.
Until Christmas Day. So
okay, so you're going to hold off Coke until Christmas Day?
Well, yeah, and I've had 72 cans in the last week, so bring on the keto flu!
Holy shit.
Yes! 72 cans.
So 72 times 9.
It's a lot of sugar, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a lot of sugar.
Yeah, but why do you think I'm fat? I don't eat food, so why do you think I'm fat?
Probably had about 4 bags of sugar.
Yeah.
Right, so the mother of 2 children
that
were found dead in suitcases in New Zealand is charged with murder. Now, at first that sounds terrible, and it is.
And it is, yeah.
But I'll tell you, people, it gets worse.
It does. Okay? It gets way worse.
So the suitcases were found in a storage unit that was bought by a family at a storage unit auction.
Oh, dear.
Okay. The mother was returned back to Australia to face charges. She left Australia for South Korea, her natural-born home, right, in 2018.
So it was a good year or more before these bodies were found.
Well, this was reported on the 30th of November.
Yes, but she has been returned and she has been charged, so we don't know when the bodies were actually found. It could have been a while.
Yeah, the bodies could have been, but I mean, if she's been back there since 2018, I would say you'd probably find that it was the storage unit. If you stopped paying for it, they probably had about 6 months to a year, and then they would auction it off. So those poor kids were in that suitcase for a while.
Yeah,
quite horrific. Quite horrific what people got up to.
Do you know what? Some people are just evil.
But I tell you what, let's lighten the mood a bit. Get the guitar out, Ben. It's Black Gary's Gaff of the Week.
Oh, I've been waiting for this. Black Gary's Gaff of the Week. 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 Oh, Gary, what are you up to now? It's Black Gary.
So Gary doesn't have a freaking clue.
No, he doesn't.
Right. Because Gary's in Qatar.
He is.
Okay. He's taken their filthy lucre. Okay. He surely knows the whole history of what's going on in preparation for this World Cup.
Yes.
And then goes and tweets, "This might be my favourite stadium." Fucking hell, Gary. What are you thinking? Built by slaves for you.
It's Black Gary, and it's Gaff of the Week. 400 to 500 died, apparently, building it.
He's a complete and utter liability, isn't he?
I'm sitting here on the guitar, while Black Gary's in Qatar, taking all that dirty money. We're making bits, they're really quite funny. You're a fucking moron, Black Gary.
Yeah, he is, isn't he? He really is. I mean, talk about bad optics. And
my God.
Not being able to read the room,
Yeah. Let's just put it on screen for you one more time. Might be my favourite stadium, says Mr. Lineker. Mr. Lineker, I don't know how you sleep at night, quite frankly. I don't. Taking their blood money, their slavery, enjoying their slave-built hospitality, and then going, oh yeah, might be my favourite stadium. Loving this World Cup, really having a good time.
Yeah.
I'll tell you who's not having a good time, the people that are dead, Gary. People that are dead. So that you could have that good time, yeah? Fuck you, Gary. Fuck you. Let's move on.
Staying on the World Cup. Okay.
Yep.
So, first female referee set to take charge of the men's World Cup match when Germany takes on Costa Rica.
Mm-hmm.
How's this going to go down in a country that doesn't like women to expose themselves? So she'll be running about in shorts, I'll guarantee.
It's gonna be hard for them to grit their teeth, isn't it?
Yeah, and FIFA have all selected 2 women assistants. So I think that's what they used to call the guys that run up and down, the linesmen.
Linesmen, yeah.
You can't call them linesmen anymore if they're women, can you?
Lines people.
Lines people, yeah. So well, anyway, the 2 women assistants.
And how do we know they're women? Why are we assuming their gender?
Well, because FIFA tell us, because they say it's an all-female on-field refereeing team.
Oh.
First one in tournament history.
So whoever 11 says twat Gary, I quite like that, but
yeah.
But no, yeah, okay. It's come on, it's progress, John. Progress.
Yeah, oh no, I only bring it up because I'm not quite sure why FIFA would tell you not to wear things like rainbow armbands or whatever, and then go and put women on the field.
Yeah.
It's sending me mixed messages. You either support the regime or you don't, or you want to push back at the regime or you don't. But it's like, what kind of message are you sending here? You're like bound to public pressure and saying, "Oh, well, let's put some people in now and see if we can stir it up a bit." Yeah, bullshit. Speaking of bullshit,
yeah. Should we move on to somebody who doesn't have a clue how the world works? Alyssa Milano. Alyssa Milano, you are an idiot. I used to like some of the things you were in. You were an okay actress, right? But as a human being, you are quite stupid. I'm just going to say it. You're quite dumb. The only reason you are influential is because you are on these things and because you have some money. Because believe me, your ideas and opinions aren't worth salt. They're not worth a thing. Anyway, John, what are you saying?
She has tits.
I mean, that too.
Yeah.
But yeah, what's going on here?
It's, I mean, I think we need to make a video about the titty factor.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Anyway, Alyssa Milano. What?
So, falling out with Elon again, right?
Oh, yeah, well, she's...
And then someone sends her a picture from something she was obviously in.
Yeah.
Or protest or something.
Looks like a protest to me.
Yeah, and then, so he has obviously written something else on what would have been the protest card. And then she says, is this freedom of speech you want, Elon Musk? How about copyright infringement?
Nope.
Is that fine by you too? Now, I'm struggling to find out where the copyright infringement is here.
There's none.
Yeah, okay.
There's none.
Now, my next thought is maybe she's confused copyright infringement with trademark. And maybe she wants to trademark my vagina smells like cat's piss?
No, what? This is why I said, right, okay, let me give you a bit of a lesson. Alyssa, I'm actually going to put myself big screen for this, Alyssa. When a picture is placed in a public domain by yourself, unless it is specifically copyrighted at the time, then you've got absolutely no claim to it. If a picture was taken of you by somebody else, which appears to have happened here, and then they have placed it online, nothing to do with you. It's not yours, it's not theirs anyway. But if you start placing images within the public domain and people make alterations to them, that is not copyright infringement. And that is why Carl Benjamin, Sargon of Akkad, absolutely slaughtered Akilah Hughes in a court of law because of this very thing. He used portions of her YouTube video in a YouTube video that he made, and she sued him for copyright infringement, and he absolutely slaughtered her and then sued her again for damages and for his legal fees to boot. You don't know what you're talking about, Alyssa. You're stupid, and please just shut up, because your own positions within your own mind, they don't gel, do they? 1 minute you love Elon, next you hate him because you've lost your power on his platform, and it's that's all it is. It's nothing else.
And then just backing up the other one, which I mean these are memes, and the other one, which is a good meme, I think.
Yeah,
it's just backing up her decision to dump her Tesla in favour of the people's car.
I'm sorry, but Volkswagen may have a horrid history, but they do make decent fucking cars. They do.
Yeah, but she's gone for a Volkswagen EV. I mean, really, what was wrong with the Tesla? Other than the fact that Elon made it. What was wrong with it? You know?
Yeah. And yes, £7.84. Carl Benjamin is Sargon of Akkad. Yeah, he sued Akilah Hughes on she sued him. He won, and then was like, right, I'm going to do you for my legal fees now, bitch. Even though he crowdfunded all of his legal fees, and so he's still entitled to it. Yeah, and do you know what? She tried to use that as a defense. She was like, he didn't even pay for it. He crowdfunded it. Judge went, basically, shut up. Doesn't matter where the money came from. You owe it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, these stupid people, they need to be taught sometimes, don't they? They need to be taught a lesson. And sometimes the only way to do it is to financially hit them. And I believe she owes him thousands. Tens of thousands even, I believe. She owes him a lot of money. She does. Will she ever pay? Well, he's in the United Kingdom, she's in the United States. The case was in New York. But will she ever pay? I don't know. But she owes him.
I think if she's got the money, she'll have to, won't she?
Well, I'm not sure she actually really does much on YouTube anymore after this, because she was just absolutely slaughtered. And serves her right. Quite frankly, she shouldn't have sued him. Mm-hmm. He made a video, I think it was like SJW Meltdowns or something, and just put a clip from her video in it. Yeah. And he argued in a court that because he had that descriptor in the title, just that title, it was transformative and fair use, and the court agreed. That was a copyright court as well.
Oh, we used a clip of Sam Hyde, remember? Yeah,
and we spoke about it.
Yeah, and that clown, what was his name?
It was DAZN and the YouTuber turned boxer. KSI.
KSI, they struck us, but
They struck us.
They've then since dropped their case, haven't they?
Well, they would have to, because that's what these people do.
We can't win. Yeah.
That's what these people do. They abuse this system, this copyright system. They abuse it to try and hurt and harm smaller up-and-coming creators that might challenge them or remove them from, viability, I guess.
So,
Speaking of viability...
Speaking of viability, let's go to Scotland, and Greenock in particular. Ferguson Marine, which were building the ferries, and was a private company at the time, was in trouble.
Yep.
And they put forward a case to the Scottish government that they could finish the ferries for 50 million.
Right.
And that they would finish the ships and limit the government's contribution to 50 million. But the Scottish government decided no, and they took over the shipyard.
Okay.
And they have now spent about 240 million. Okay. And Ferguson Marine, as it stands just now, have just admitted they cannot account for 128 million of that money. They don't know where it went.
Nicola?
They don't know where it went.
Nicola?
It's public money.
Nicola? If you guys took over the company, you took over the shipyard, and you took over the project, where's the money, Nicola?
Absolutely. And I think the next meme actually just stands on its own. It sums it up.
I think
perfectly.
So. The problem isn't that she is a deceitful, hate-filled, lying piece of scum ruining Scotland. Problem is her voters don't care.
Yeah, that's the problem. They cannot see her doing wrong.
No, they can't. They can't see her wrongdoings.
And it's quite disturbing when you speak to these people, because they look at first glance like normal human beings.
Yeah.
And yet they are automatons. They are complete. As soon as you mention her name, that's it. Can't do wrong. She's wonderful.
I can do no wrong, Nicola.
She's made a great job of running the country. I mean, this
freedom, independence.
Yeah, but it flies in the face of everything she's done, everything she hasn't achieved.
Yep.
All the people that died, all the drug deaths.
Yep.
The worst record in Europe.
Yep.
The failing health system.
Yep.
I mean, it's just everything she has touched is a pile of shite.
Yes. I mean, that's but John, that's reality. And speaking of reality, artifacting reality, YouTube has held that comment for review, and I'm not going to show it because it might harm our channel, quite frankly. So just letting you know that. Should we move on to... I just caught a glimpse of the next slide, and I just simply thought, what the fuck? John is going to have to expand on this.
Yes, well, this isn't quite as it seems. Right? Okay, so what happens is they have used aborted human fetal matter, right? In a cell line to produce things that have actually since been added as food products.
Right.
So it's not far. They're not actually putting fetuses into the food.
Well,
right?
no.
But what they're doing is they're using the cells to produce things that, change the tastes of the food, apparently, flavorings and stuff. And it seems strange, but it's obviously done through some kind of chemical, biological process in which they're growing stuff. But I don't understand why. It's almost like we're becoming like cannibals.
Well, it's a forced cannibalism if they're not telling people. Even if it is only cell lines, it is a forced cannibalism.
It is cell lines, and they are not telling people. And look at the food manufacturers: Kraft, PepsiCo, and Nestle.
That is
that's most of the food that's processed in the world will go through that three.
That's ridiculous.
Kraft is huge.
Yeah, but
PepsiCo is huge, and Nestle's huge.
I have a question. Who for... I know how we can enhance flavour. Who Who gets that in their mind? I know how we can. Oh, by George, I've got it.
Yeah, I know.
What?
It's crazy.
What? I mean, that's
You
where
can maybe
I'm
understand why I'm not quite so bright today.
Yeah, but John, I'm stuck. My head is stuck in who the fuck works for these companies or a subsidiary who's gone.
There's an
got
idea.
it. I've got it. Human
sugar.
fetuses.
We'll use human cell lines. We'll grow stuff on human cell lines. Why? Right. So moving on.
Yeah, let's move on to
Our favourite
actor.
Ukrainian actor. So Zelensky says, right, those that have perpetrated atrocities must face a special court, and that Great Britain can help set it up. Now, one, be very careful what you wish for here, mate.
Yep.
Be very, very careful what you wish for, because it might not plan out the way you want it to.
Nope.
Right? Two, he's on record currently as saying that Ukraine needs $1 trillion to restore it. Now, my immediate thought is, restore it to what?
Push the button.
What button?
Putin!
Not that button.
What button?
Bo.
Oh,
Bullshit!
There we go.
got you.
There we
Right,
go.
so-
Does not need $1 trillion.
Yeah. But what's he wanting to restore? Is he wanting to restore them back to their money laundering days, their
Child exploitation.
child exploitation, child pornography peddling days, their persecution of Romanies and Gypsies days, their appalling record on human rights days.
I know what they want to do. I know what they want to do.
To everything.
Look, I know.
And I forgot the almost fanatical fascination for that German former movement from the 30s.
No, I know what they want to do. I know what they want to do, right? Because $1 trillion is obviously way more than what it would cost to do.
FTX?
No. No. I know it, right? And this ties in with the Azov a bit, right?
Uh-huh.
Right? White Wakanda.
Well, maybe now if you will recall, I think it might have been 6 or 8 months ago that we brought up a subject.
Right.
Now I haven't found the actual source yet, so I'm not saying this is genuine truth.
Yeah.
Okay. But we did flag up that this was going to happen, and it had happened. And it now appears that they've got as far as Venezuela.
Yep.
And anti-tank systems which were delivered to the Ukraine have already appeared for sale over there.
This is what happens. This is what happens, and we did say this, didn't we? Because there was a downed plane full of Ukrainian weapons, or weapons that were meant for Ukraine, that didn't go to Ukraine.
Yeah, that was on its way to was it on its way to Syria or somewhere, wasn't it? Saudi Arabia?
Definitely not Ukraine, right?
Yeah.
Definitely going. It was going from Ukraine, I believe. So it was probably a nice purchase, nice purchase that had happened, because this is still, in part, money laundering. There is still money laundering going on.
Yeah, of course it is.
They're giving
exactly
them
what it is.
weapons. They're selling the weapons, and the money's going into FTX, and then back to the Democratic Party. In my opinion, because I don't want to get sued.
Right. So while we're on the subject of Zelensky, and I think I'm going to bring this up about Russia.
Right, go on then.
And this is it's probably something that people aren't going to like.
Oh, okay. We like a bit of controversy here, John.
But what I'm going to relate to you isn't how I feel or what I think, how it should be. It's what I think is actually happening, right?
Okay.
Or what where the outcome may have been different, and why we're in the situation that we're in just now.
Okay.
Right? Because if you think back, and before we start, we abhor war, right?
Yep.
We do not promote violence of any kind.
Nope.
We don't wish harm on any of the peoples of Russia or Ukraine,
Nope.
right?
Big
and we
supporters of
certainly-
normal people here. Big
Yep,
supporters.
and we definitely do not dehumanize these people
No.
on either side. Okay. But what I think happened is, and when you look back at what happened between Russia and Ukraine, I think Putin had reasonable cause to do some of the things he did, right?
Right.
When you look at the bioweapons labs that they targeted, and that was confirmed and subsequently confirmed by the US that they were indeed funding them, right?
Yes.
So that's all a matter of public record, in fact, and that did happen. And when he went in and took them out, and then he moved on to other things, and I think he genuinely thought this was going to be a short, sharp mission, right? But I think the fatal error that he made was and this is purely from a military point of view, right? I think what Putin did was he tried to minimize civilian casualties and only take out military objectives.
Which is a good thing.
It is a good thing, but not if you want to win a war.
Right.
Because if you think back...
But the thing is, they still don't...
If you think back to other wars, there is always an awful lot of collateral damage, right?
Yes,
and
absolutely.
The problem then becomes that... And even Russia, and we'll go on to how Russia normally wins wars.
Yeah, but Russia still aren't even calling it a war. They're calling it a special military operation to this day.
I think that's a strategic political error.
Okay.
Right? Because if he's going to do it, he shouldn't have done what he did. He shouldn't have tried to minimise the damage. He should have gone in hard. And this is the part you won't like. If you were going to do this, ultimately, he should have gone in hard, he should have gone in fast, and he should have destroyed Ukraine's war machine completely. Right? Now, that would have attracted collateral damage.
Yeah.
Right? And it may well have had NATO and the Europeans up in arms, even more so than they are just now. But the thing is, at this point in time, we wouldn't be sitting waiting for his winter offensive. We wouldn't be sitting talking about what's going to happen next. We wouldn't be sitting talking about World War III because it would all have been done and dusted, right?
Right.
And yes, it would have been horrific, and it's not something that I would have wished on anyone, but it would have been done and dusted.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, I hear what you're saying. I do hear what you're saying.
So instead, what he's done by trying to protect the common people, which is very, very laudable, right? And if that's the case, that's fine. I don't know if that was his theory or not, but what he's done now is he's prolonged, the situation has prolonged. And of course the West has helped to prolong because we've now had the time to get the logistics and the materials and the funding in place to make sure that Ukraine are able to put up more of a fight.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's where we are just now.
Right.
Now, if we'd gone to the table, remember way back in, was it March when we were at the negotiating table, or was it May? And it looked like we were going to get a peaceful settlement. And then suddenly Boris went to Ukraine, and the next day, boom, that was it. It was all done. We were back
you're right.
on. Yeah, remember that?
I do.
That was the point when there was probably a good chance of a proper peaceful settlement on both sides, because it was a kind of a stalemate situation, because Russia had gone in too soft and they were kind of stalled, and Ukraine didn't have the backup that it's now got, right?
Well, ultimately what it boils down to, Natasha says, I understand where you're coming from, but I disagree that this would have ended the conflict. I think the West would have had their oar in a big way if they had just done as John suggests. And yes...
They couldn't. No, they couldn't.
Because they would have had to have invaded Russia to do it.
Yeah, they wouldn't be able to do that. And, I mean, the West cannot win a war with Russia, right? I mean, you might think that technologically and manpower-wise we're great, we'll fucking ramp over them. The West cannot win a war with Russia, because if you look at how Russia fights... They will fight on a completely different scale from the West, and the West will always get caught out when Russia starts fighting, right? Because what Russia does is it does things like it'll push in and then it'll pull back.
Yeah.
And it pulls back, it pulls back, it pulls back to draw the military with it. And the problem is, Russia does this from a military strategic point of view. The UK and the US in particular don't fight from a military strategic point of view. They fight from a political point of view. And if you try and fight and win a war using politics, you are going to lose it. And that's what would happen if the West was involved. The West would be humiliated by Russia's war machine. They would be ground up.
I think we spent
and that's
enough
exactly
time
what
on this.
happens. Sorry?
I think we spent enough time on this.
But that's why, I mean, I'm just saying, I'm not saying people would agree with me, but this is proven and proven time again. This is how Russia works. And I think what we're going to see is we're now going to see a concerted effort from Russia. And I'm not saying they'll necessarily invade, because gaining territory isn't important to them. What their aim is to destroy the Ukrainian army now. So they'll try and drag the Ukrainian army out. And if the Ukrainian army, who seem to be becoming ever more confident, if they go and they get pulled into that, it is a trap.
Yeah, I actually see. I do agree with you there. I do agree that everything that's been going on these past few weeks does seem like a trap. Looking at it from my own point of view, all of these celebrations, and we got Kherson back and stuff like that. Did you? You didn't take it. They walked away. Why did they walk away? They did it because of military strategy, in my opinion. And obviously the mainstream media won't agree with me, and many other people might not agree with me. But that is what I'm seeing, and I think you are right in how the Russian military acts. They pull out, they push back, they pull out, they push back. And surely the West knows this. Surely they do.
Yeah, they do. They know this, but they have no counter to it, because the problem is, as soon as the West start fighting, politics start getting involved, right? And politicians take the decisions. And this is how Hitler lost his army against Russia, because they get trapped, because he refused to yield the ground. Right? This is how the US general let the German army escape from Italy, because he wanted to be first into Rome, because he wanted to show that the US were liberating the place. Right? So when you do things like that from a political point of view, you make strategic errors. You make military errors. And that's what the West will do. They will continue to make military errors. And the Russians, no matter how good or bad they are, will keep them, and I think it's been seen, they're keeping their politics out of the conflict. Yeah.
No, you know what? You're right. You're right in that respect. Honestly, I don't know what's going to happen. I think it's escalating more than it's de-escalating. And
the other problem, Ben, is the time has gone. The time has passed now for peace.
I hope you're wrong, but I think you're right. Right?
Yeah.
I
think what will happen is after the winter, because let's face it, Russia's always good at fighting in the winter. After the winter, and you know, when the West say the Russians don't have any equipment, they don't have any boots, they don't have this, they're short of that, don't believe anything you hear on the news, because what you're listening to is propaganda, right?
Yeah, but then again, propaganda comes from everywhere. It comes from all sides.
Of course it does.
Everyone's flooding the airways with shit.
What will happen after the winter campaign, and I suspect half of Ukraine's army is just gone, right?
Yep. I would imagine half of Ukraine's army is already gone.
Well, yeah, and then what you'll have is you'll have Ukraine and the West going to the negotiating table from a position of weakness instead of a position of strength, where we would have been if we'd done it in May when Johnston told us not to.
Yes. Anyway, before we move on to our next segment, if you are enjoying the show, then please leave a like. If you're not subscribed to the channel already, please make sure you do that. But the single most important thing you can do to help us grow and reach a bigger audience and make these shows higher quality is to share it out on your social media platforms. No matter what platform you're on, there will be a share button somewhere. Click that share button, whether you're watching on YouTube, whether you're watching on Twitch, whether you're watching on Rumble, and hopefully if they return my Twitter accounts, when you're watching on Twitter. But we will make sure they will be going out there when those accounts do come back. But please click that share button. We would really, really appreciate it. And if you want to actually support us with a little bit of the old ching ching, we'll tell you how to do that at the end of the show. You can see it in the comments anyway. Right, John, we're going to have to blast through these last few. So shall we move on?
Okay, well, as it says on the slide, Suella says she's going to fast track Albanians back to Albania because it's a safe country and they're only here as economic migrants.
I don't see an issue.
I would probably purport most of the people that come into the UK are here as economic migrants.
So is that why we're seeing all of these Albanian protests in London lately?
No, that wasn't a protest. That was a celebration. That was a celebration of Albania's Independence Day.
Oh, okay. Why was that happening in London?
You tell me.
Yeah.
There must be a shitload of Albanians in London if they can afford to get together and block the roads to celebrate an Independence Day for a country that we basically don't know fuck all about.
Now, let's move on to this tweet from Donald Trump Jr. because, you know, I'm indifferent to the Trump family, as you know, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I think they're morons. Sometimes I think they say a nugget of truth, blah, 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 blah. Donald Trump Jr. here has absolutely nailed it, though. There seems to be more outrage about Elon Musk making free speech and ridding Twitter of child exploitation content top priorities than there is about Balenciaga's child exploitation bondage scandal and the silence of virtually all the celebrities who represent that sick brand. Very, very telling. And I mean, look, let's talk about Apple versus Elon for a minute, shall we? Because Balenciaga have apps in the App Store, and Apple haven't threatened them.
No. What is this obsession from the new woke left that about this thing? Because everybody seems involved in it, and they never seem to take a hard line on it. They never seem to crack down on it. But everybody seems to say it's okay. It's not that big a deal. Let's lower the age of consent. Let's encourage this.
Yeah.
You know, pick your own gender out of 50 million or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, why? Why are people doing this? Is it
for the
psyop?
It's as far as I'm concerned, it's the managed downfall of Western civilization. It's the destruction of our culture.
It's dogs and cats in the street.
It's the destruction of our culture. It's telling you that things that are patently not real are real. It's making, you know, it's why, once again, TikTok do not show what's on Western TikTok to their Chinese patrons, to their Chinese users.
Saw an interesting thing this morning about Chinese censorship.
Yeah.
And
the Great Firewall.
Yeah, but not even that. It even comes down to like anime books and magazines and cartoons. They take the blood away.
It's not just that. It's not just that. It's not just that. Like, for example, if a Disney movie's got like supernatural magic or ghosts or things like that, it won't get past the censors, right?
Yeah.
No supernatural stuff, no ghosts, no none of that. They have to make loads of changes to movies. I mean, if you remember Avengers Age of Ultron, the second Avengers movie only got released in China because they agreed to put a Chinese woman in as one of the lead scientists. All of the entertainment companies, the games companies and things like that have to either make their films already adhering to China's censorship rules, or make a China's censorship happy version going out. Like the Star Wars, was it The Last Jedi, where they
oh, when they changed the lead character from.
Well, no. That's the poster on The Force Awakens. In The Last Jedi, there was a gay kiss at the end between two women, and that had to go. I believe this.
I saw a tweet, and you know how people always ask stupid things on Twitter. Somebody said, if you could tell people what to do in 4 words, what would those 4 words be? And my 4 words would be, and this is, you're only allowed to say 4 words. My 4 words would be, do not trust China.
No, yeah, I see no issue with that. And speaking of complete lack of trust, let's move on to our next slide of Sean Penn lending.
Right, so this is Sean Penn lending Zelensky, and I'm quite intrigued by this because this came up on Twitter today. Right? Today.
Yep.
With with someone saying, It's right in front of your eyes. They're telling us that Zelensky is an actor. And yet, someone I know put a tweet out yesterday
Yeah.
that said, unlikely, but by Sean Penn lending Zelensky his Oscar, was he trying to send us a hidden message that, he deserves an Oscar for his acting?
Well, I think he does, to be honest.
Yeah. So it's weird how these things keep occurring just after we've done them.
Yeah. So let's move on to Morgan here with a Ukraine flag in the bio, as you can see.
Yeah, it's the MP that gets me. Right, read that. The average cost of a pint in London is £5.50.
Yep.
18 to 20-year-old workers on the minimum wage would have to work 40 hours to pay for it. How? How the fuck does he work that out?
Is this man an MP?
Yes.
Is he gone to the Diane Abbott School of Maths?
That's the people that represent you.
I can't even laugh at that.
Yes, that's why
I can't even laugh at that.
Fucked. Right. Well, if you're not going to laugh at that, you're not going to laugh at the next one.
To commemorate Albanian Independence Day, this is Bedford Borough Council. We have raised the flag of Albania from Bedford's Town Hall. We wish everyone who is celebrating this occasion a happy Independence Day.
What? Is this a thing we do now? Do we just start celebrating random countries' independence days?
I don't get it. I don't get it
either. I don't get it either. What the fuck is going on in this country?
Well,
do you know what day it is today?
What day is it today?
It's St Andrew's Day.
I wouldn't have known that.
No, you wouldn't, because that's part of your country.
Yeah.
I.e. the UK and Great Britain.
Yeah, wouldn't have known that. Wouldn't have known that.
Yeah, so you wouldn't have known it was St Andrew's Day, but Bedford Town Council knows it was Albanian Independence Day 3 days ago.
It's like all of these town councils, these MPs are just fighting for the wokest virtue signal that they possibly can, right?
Yeah.
We don't. No offence to Albania, no offence to Albanians, but I don't care about Albanian Independence Day. I'm not an Albanian, it's not part of my culture, it's not part of my life, it's not part of my history, and it has nothing to do with me. Do you know what I care about? I care about feeding my fucking kids. That's all I care about. I care about my kids having some kind of life, but, because of all these woke fucking morons, my kids' lives are essentially fucked at the moment because everybody wanted the wokest virtue signal. Oh, cover your places. Oh, do this, do that, do this, do that. Stay at home. Oh, just praise everyone else. Fuck all of the people living here. And we're all being dragged down. And it's as Elon Musk coined, and do you know what? I'm stealing it. Sorry, Elon. The woke mind virus. The woke mind virus is what is ultimately responsible for the destruction of our country, the cost of living crisis, everything. If there was no woke mind virus, there would have been no nudge unit. There would have been no making you stay at home. There would have been no making you virtue signal and bang pots and fucking pans on, what was it, a Thursday night at 8 p.m?
I've got a video of that. You know what else I've got a video of?
What's that?
I've got Ursula von Leiden's video of her saying that over 100,000 Ukrainian troops are dead.
Oh. We'll put that out as a short.
She said it.
Claps at 8 p.m. indeed, Adam. Claps at 8 p.m. Let's move on, shall we?
Last slide of the day. So basically, a summation of this is there aren't enough wankers in England.
Okay. So regulators reveal the US and Denmark are the greatest exporters to Britain. The majority of new sperm donors are in the UK now come from abroad, new figures show. For the first time, more than half of those registering to donate are from overseas, with the US and Denmark the greatest exporters to Britain. Regulators said that in some cases, women were turning to imported sperm because they were unable to find a donor in this country. Guys, you know what to do.
So the next part is the part that gets me, though, right?
Go on, him.
Chairman of the Human Fertilisation and Embryology Authority, Julia Chain, said she was concerned that some were taking the extremely risky route of finding donors online and using turkey basters.
Look, listen. You've got to do what you've got to do sometimes, John. It is what it is.
So, you know what you need. Your country needs wankers. Be a wanker.
Men of Britain, it is incumbent on you to do this duty. So, you know, demand money, demand payment. That's fine.
Yeah.
Right? But do your duty.
Do your duty.
Or women who want donors, you know, if you're straight, that is, go out and, you know, try and do things naturally. Find a partner, go to dinner, you know, decide to start a family together, because a family and kids always better off with both parents. Kids are always better off with both parents around. It doesn't matter what constitutes those both parents, but, you know, single family or single parent broken homes are tough. They are tough, and you know the kids ultimately, statistically, do worse. Yeah.
Okay, so that kind of winds us up for today.
Do you want to tell them how they can pay us money?
Well, they can pay us money through ko-fi, so
Yep.
ko-fi.com/Chasing Dissent, or through patreon.com/Chasing Dissent.
We would appreciate your cash. But would you like to, John? Would you like to continue the Fortnite Fracture countdown tonight?
Possibly.
So, ladies and gentlemen, around 9 p.m, you can possibly come over to the other channel, 100 Acre Swamp. That is the number 100 and Acre Swamp, to find us chatting shit live and killing people on Fortnite. Not real people. Not real people. Computer people. Whoever 11 says, one of us. One of us. But speaking of one of us, we want to see you over on the other channel. We don't see many of you. You can talk to us. We'll talk back and all of that.
Yeah. And come to Discord.
Yeah.
Come to Discord, join in, it's free.
Yeah, it's free.
Whoever 11's quite active on Discord.
Yeah, and I try to be a little bit more active on Discord, but I'm running so much at the moment that, you know, I do pop up there occasionally. But
you probably get more out of me than you normally get.
Are you quite active in the Discord, John?
I wouldn't say I've been there a few times. I'm there most days at some point to check in.
Well, you can catch John in the Discord for sure. Yeah, by the sounds of it, he might actually respond to you. He can respond to you in kind. You go, oh my god, he spoke to me. He spoke to me. It's John, don't you know? It's John. He spoke to me.
Anyway, yeah, come join us, join in, and spread the word, evangelize, like, subscribe, share.
And
you
we'll
know what
see
to do.
you. We'll see you at 9 p.m. tonight on the other channel. And if you don't come along and you don't get involved and you don't cheer us on, then we don't like you anymore.
It's been great.
For you.
For you.
Good afternoon, goodbye, good evening, wherever you are.
Christmas, all the Christmas trees on fire. Santa's holding the lighter. My parents are both liars. I got gifts but 1 subscribers. Thanks for the candy basket. Oh God, another jacket. My stocking's filled with acid. Am I dreaming? What just happened? This